If you go to Hawaii, you will find elders that say, yes, humanity descends from spirits of light that came, they brought wisdom. Halemakua is one of the elders.
There was the fallen angels, and then there was also angels that decided to come and help. And did they come from two different places, and where did they come from, and what were their intentions? Where did they fall from? What was their intentions, to come here and to integrate into a human form? And did they leave, or why did they have to leave, or did they choose to leave, or were they called back?
This Bnei Elohim, no? The sons of Elohim, which technically translated would be like the sons of the stars, because Elohim are the stars. According to the Zohar, before those angels fell, they were in Harmonia. They were an intelligence meant to bring wisdom into the earth. The Bnei Elohim were forces, or they were intelligences that in the beginning brought union in the earth. When the earth was in union, everyone spoke one language, there were no wars, but something happened. The Tower of Babel. They started to develop some form of technology or art that influenced nature, and nature rebelled against humanity. Yeshua or Yeshu, he brought all the wisdom necessary to redeem Adam. And well, maybe religious people would say, no, the angels, the fallen angels cannot be redeemed. Okay, we are on air already. And the subject of fallen guides that came to the earth long ago, it's interesting because I think that problematic, it's still very active, because all the politics, the social structures, the religions were brought by these souls or spirits that came from far away. Even spiritual technologies, certain arts of how to evolve, they were suggested by them. In the book of Enoch, we are told about the fallen angels, which in the Bible are known as the sons of God, the Bnei Elohim. And for a long time, I tried to guess who they were or what they are really, because some traditions separate them from Adam. They say, well, Adam is a structure, and these guys were a separate business. And when you go to the book of the Zohar, which explains the meaning of the Torah, it's very interesting because the interpretation given by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is that these were the angels or messengers that live in other planes, celestial planes, and complain about the creation of Adam. They say, why are you going to make these creatures which are going to fall? They are weak. And they were complaining to the Shekinah, to the vibration of the mind of the Holy One. And the answer was, well, Adam will sin with one woman. No, they will both fall, but you shall sin with many women. That's why in Genesis 6, it said that the Bnei Elohim saw the daughters of Adam that were beautiful and engendered children, them, and they became Nephilim, no? Fallen ones, which some people think they were extraterrestrials mating with ape-like creatures. That doesn't make sense, because the traditions say that these sons of God or sons of Elohim, which is different than absolute God, God the Father, they were spiritual beings that came into incarnation. So obviously they started to live through some human beings that obviously met women and men that had more genetics from that project called First Adam, no, Adam Arishon, that was somehow intended to elevate the fallen worlds. Or Adam was formed from the dust of Adamah, and all the influences were inside. But I was always curious about these fallen ones because
Excuse me.
it's also the problematic of hybridizing different species when they were not in principle necessary to elevate the fallen creation. But they came, and you see that in many traditions. It's amazing how all fits the single story, but different traditions give different interpretations. If you go to Hawaii, you will find elders that say, yes, humanity descends from spirits of light that came and they brought wisdom. Halemakua is one of the elders that he still teaches, I think. And he says that they came from Sirius. And that's in the Hawaiian tradition.
Right.
And he said that among these seeds, there were specific guides that somehow were in charge of bringing wisdom or bringing some kind of guide for humanity and also for the comrades, the star seeds, as some would say nowadays. However, when the guides left back to the spiritual realms, somehow the situation got chaotic because what were in principle spiritual civilizations became tyrannical civilizations ruled by kings that took control of the situation. And this is exactly what we find in the Bible when it says that Nimrod built the tower, and because of that, the forces of nature and maybe some angelic powers were involved as well, crashed the tower. I guess they started to develop some form of technology or art that influenced nature, and nature rebelled against humanity. When you piss off nature, nature pisses you off. It's a question of cause and effect, not punishment.
Right.
So even though this is a very wide subject, I was thinking about the problematic. You say problematic, no?
Yes.
Problematic is how to distinguish between the arts, sciences, technologies that they brought from the true intelligence from life, which is the so-called Mashiach, brain of the universe, which here on earth expressed fully through a man people call Jesus, or Yeshua or Yeshu. And he brought all the wisdom necessary to redeem Adam. And well, maybe religious people would say, no, the angels, the fallen angels cannot be redeemed. I have my doubts because according to, I think it's a letter from Peter, that the Messiah went to preach the truth to the incarcerated spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And who were these spirits and why did Isho do that? I think some of them might be able to reintegrate to the cosmic divine movement of Harmonia, but I guess they have to live through us, or learn a lesson on earth, having made mistakes, obviously. And I think that's the question of modern humanity, because we come from so many different places and we have so many different influences from the animal kingdom, the angelic kingdom, then the emanation, which is different. It's not angelic. In a sense, we are angels from the primordial source as well, but the angels that came, even Adam, supposedly were in a lower state. They didn't come straightforwardly from the emanation with all the understanding. So it's interesting to discern the difference between the arts of Isho, the yoga of Jesus, as we could say, no? And the arts of these people. What do you think about this difference?
I think you have to go back to and start where they come from and see their differences, because you read in the Bible and some tales, and there was the fallen angels, and then there was also angels that decided to come and help. And did they come from two different places, and where did they come from, and what were their intentions?
Mhm.
And then where did they fall from? What was their intentions, to come here and to integrate into a human form for a time, and then did they leave, or why did they have to leave, or did they choose to leave, or were they called back? I'm not 100% sure, because it seems like you got all the tales, even with the in the Greek, you have the tales of Hercules and all the gods of Olympus, and to me that sounds like fallen angels, you know what I mean? Because they're living in the sky, above the sky in some realm, and they come down and they mingle with
Yeah.
human being. And then some say that the quarrel of the angels, why are you making these human beings? And they said that the human beings were made higher than the angels. So that's why they were, some were confused, if you want to call it, or angry, and wanted to come and give humans the technology to destroy themselves. Where did fire come from? A fallen angel, or an angel trying to help? Or where did the idea of a bow and arrow come from, or to you use a rock as a weapon? You know what I mean? Who planted these ideas? You know what I mean? And to me, that would be the difference of a entity with the fallen angels, with a angel or a light being that would come to try and help and guide
Mhm. Yeah,
humans.
that's a very interesting take, because that's precisely the idea that I suggested in the Spanish study group. There is a woman who is very concerned about the Kabbalistic teaching, because she has been studying them, and especially the line of Michael Lightman, the sword from the line of Michael Lightman. He has groups in Russia and in other places, and they read the sword. And obviously, in the sword, we also are told about the source of the angels that complained, that said, well, why do you create Adam if this creature is going to fall? Now, I think their mistake is thinking that Adam was just a being from the earth, made from the materials from the earth, incapable of receiving higher vibrations. The thing is, maybe the project was to include these complaining intelligences into Adam, because there is a beautiful passage in the Zohar.
To help cleanse them, or help them reach a higher vibration.
Exactly. Because angels, well, we think traditionally about them, they are like beings with wings or some entity from some heaven, but we think of them as mental bodies or spiritual bodies that need to be integrated in a structure or in a body in order to perform a function in the whole. Then maybe they were allowed to fall because, as even some Kabbalists say, Adam was meant to fall because it was impossible for Adam not to fall. Because that's even in the scripture. No? These angels, I think they appear. I don't know if it's in Psalms or Proverbs. I don't have the quote here, but they say, "Why are you praising Adam so much?" This Benea Elohim, no? The sons of Elohim, which technically translated would be like the sons of the stars, because Elohim are the stars, or intelligence from planets, the stars. So they have an astral body, or they are astral intelligences. And I think they saw the future. This is even interpreted in schools from Kabbalistic teachings, just as Adam. Adam, in the beginning, was a spiritual soul that was able to see the universe coast to coast. So Adam saw the future, and the Zohar says that he gave 70 years to David, because from David would spring the root of the Messiah. So Adam wanted to anticipate a portion of himself to be the savior, of humanity.
Wow.
That's in the Zohar. But the story is that Adam, or that soul of humanity, incarnated before the appointed time.
Mm.
Now, that story is very similar to the story of the Benea Elohim. So I wonder, were the Benea Elohim some spiritual mind of Adam? Because one of the ideas is that the Benea Elohim were forces, or that they were intelligences that in the beginning brought union in the earth. Actually, in the Zohar, in the interpretations given by Kabbalists, it is said that that's the meaning of the passage. When the earth was in union, everyone spoke one language, there were no wars, but something happened. The Tower of Babel, some mixture of some kind.
Yeah. Maybe that was some kind of antenna that let some kind of vibration that couldn't reach here in. You know what I mean? They put up an antenna that honed in this vibration that was just if unequally yoked to the vibration of peace and harmonia
Yeah,
and then what.
that's exactly the question, because according to the Zohar, before those angels fell, they were in Harmonia, they were an intelligence meant to bring wisdom into the earth. But when they fell, because of the accusation, I think the problem is that they became
Accusers. Mm.
and the accuser is the diabolos, or the devil. So they became part of that diabolical mindset, which is not just from the fallen angels, because there was something else, which is the energy of the serpent. So the energy of the serpent got into them just as it got into us. It's an energy of egoism, or splitting oneself from the others, or wanting to control, wanting more and more and more, and never get satiated.
Yeah.
So I think in those days, previous to the deluge or the flood, at least the great flood mentioned in myths, because there were several, but the one of Genesis from 6 to Genesis 11 approximately, I think the problem was some angels rebelled, not all of them. Some were helping, as you said. And the idea is that from some intelligences of that kind seem to be springing prophets, because the book of Enosh says that Noah was born with blue eyes, blonde hair, and many thought that he descended from the Bnei Elohim, because
Right.
have had some traces like that. Maybe not
It,
all of them.
into a nation of people who had darker skin and darker hair, or
Yes,
he was the first one that looked like that.
he looked like an alien.
Yes.
Supposedly, the norm was having people with dark eyes or dark hair. And I've always wondered why some ancient teachings represent the Buddha, no? Another five figures with blue eyes. Have you seen those representations? Because it's very
Yeah, I never noticed. I seen the representations, but I didn't look at the color of the eyes and everything. I know a lot of the representations of Jesus of is you know is as a human being, a white human being with, you know what I mean, with long hair and the beard and the I don't know if they're all blue eyes. But yeah.
I can show you because it's very interesting. Not only the Buddha, but different races or cultures, the Aryan culture, which supposedly brought a higher state of development, and they are associated with those traces. You see the Buddha with
Yeah.
the Buddha was Sakyamuni Buddha, and the Sakyas were the Scythians, supposedly, associated with a higher type of culture, more learned. Let's see if in Sumeria they are also associated with blue eyes.
Hmm.
It was Anunnaki, the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
They were associated with those traces.
Mm.
So
Maybe they did it like at the for like, the sky's blue, and to associate them with the sky,
very interesting.
you, you know, something like that.
The sky, or even the level of melanin, because the difference between the coloring in the eyes is not a different pigmentation, because we all have melanin, but not the same quantity. So variations in melanin bring different color, green, yellow. Well, yellow, if you have,
Yellow eyes, you're in trouble.
some people have kind of yellowish color, no?
Yeah, or pupils, or you
Purple,
know, or the whites of their eyes are a little yellowish.
uh,
Yeah.
or purple. Have you ever seen people with purple eyes? It's a
I've seen some wild eyes, yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor, for instance, even though that's associated to a syndrome, but I think it might have to do with
Mm.
genetics from
Yeah,
different genomes
right.
generated by different souls and spirit roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the indigo, that they call them the indigo children, and they're like blue, and then uh Krishna was blue, correct?
Yeah.
Portrayed as blue.
Or even Shiva, he's,
Oh, is that Shiva? Yeah.
even though the color blue is also associated with a poison, he has
Yeah.
the, the throat especially colored in blue because he swallowed a poison. That's interesting because
Yeah, very interesting.
brought some poisonous ideas.
Yeah, because you will turn blue if you swallow something that don't agree with you, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And it's interesting that many of the ideas they brought are about separating society in masters and slaves, lords
Yeah.
and slaves, or owners and those who are owned. And they brought ideas about control,
Yeah.
manipulation, the manipulation of the energy. It's very famous, the theme of the Kundalini, which surprisingly, even yoga experts or self-proclaimed yoga experts say it's necessary to evolve, like the Sadhguru. worships a serpent, like all the idolaters all over the world.
Yeah.
Everyone is clapping. But one of the most ancient yoga texts says that the Kundalini obstructs the nadis, the conduits through which the prana or universal energy flows. So it's an obstacle. It's not something we should consider as necessary for evolution, or even Gurdjieff. He said that the Kundalini is the power of imagination, fantasy, and occultists and ignorant yogis or ignorant saints, as he said, mistake it for a very high force of transformation.
Right.
I think that's part of the lie or the misconception brought by these people.